Hey everyone, welcome back to Untethered Truth. I'm your host, Vince. Today I want to get into some of the empirical evidence for a flat and stationary Earth.
Oh, hey there, Vince. What's the scoop? Do you have some hot truth tea to spill? And no, I don't really want an answer to that. It's just a figure of speech. Unless you do have some actual tea, then I'm all yours. Yours. I'm Welsh. But seriously, you're a flat earther. That's like saying you still believe in the Tooth Fairy or that the Earth is the center of the universe. Come on, man. And why on earth did you title your video Empirical Evidence for a Flat Earth number 1? Because there's 6 of them. That's like trying to prove unicorns exist. Don't blame me! It's just not going to happen. The only mystery here is why you even bother trying.
Today I want to get into some of the empirical evidence for a flat and stationary Earth.
But there isn't any.
No evidence.
No evidence. No evidence.
So what you've managed to fill a 16-minute video with is anyone's guess. I suspect it'll be the usual drivel.
Dribble!
But I like a bit of drivel on a Friday night. Makes me feel smart. So let's see this empirical evidence then, Vincent. Please subscribe.
My goal today is to share irrefutable proofs that the Earth is not a sphere, but is in fact a flat and motionless plane.
Are you not paying attention? Now that's what you call an ambitious goal. I used to work in sales, which is all about setting big goals and striving to achieve them. But trying to prove that the Earth is flat, well, that's like trying to prove that Hitler was a nice guy.
One of the most common sense points that I can make is that water is always observably level.
And one of the most common sense replies I can make is to let you and all other flat earthers know that flat and level are not the same thing. But I'm guessing that being an expert in your given field, you already knew that. You do know that, right? But even if you don't, who needs facts and knowledge when you've got blind faith and a conspiracy theory?
No one can prove that water curves in any observable way.
You may want to take a look at a raindrop or the top of a glass of water.
And no one's been able to measure curvature over long distances of ocean either.
That's actually quite simple thanks to GPS measurements. And to top it off, the way things vanish over water in a predictable manner helps us to measure the curvature with reasonable precision as well. You do know that the G in GPS stands for global, don't you? So, if you're ever feeling unsure about the shape of our planet, just whip out your trusty GPS and take a gander at the disappearing objects over water. You know, ships that disappear from the bottom up. It's like a magic trick. But with science, it's almost too easy. And yet flat earthers still seem to struggle with it.
For those of you who want to look this up on Google, you're going to find out that oceans make up 71% of the entire Earth.
Well, they don't. They make up 71% of Earth's surface. That's embarrassing. If you're getting something that simple wrong, then I don't hold out much hope for the rest of your pieces of empirical evidence.
So if 71% of the Earth is flat, level water, it is impossible for the Earth to be a sphere.
You keep mentioning level, so I can only conclude that you're one of those flat earthers. You know, the ones who don't know the difference between flat and level, which is a bit of a problem, because at the very least you need to be able to decide which one you're failing to prove.
To me, that's checkmate.
American fool.
Oh, sorry, pal, I feel bad now. I hope I haven't made you feel stupid. That wasn't my intention, I promise. I was just pointing out the obvious flaw in your logic, and I would hate to be the one to make you feel as stupid as you sound.
You are made of stupid.
But for those of you who want to get more science on this issue, let's go to another scientific experiment called the Michelson-Morley experiments.
Oh, so you want to go there then, do you? Why? Oh, how delightful. It turns out that the Michelson-Morley experiment doesn't actually support the idea of a flat Earth. It completely shocked me.
Shocking.
I mean, who would have thought? Apparently, the experiment was actually designed to test a hypothesis about luminescence. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Apparently, the experiment was actually designed to test a hypothesis about luminiferous ether, which is just a fancy term for the medium through which light waves propagate.
And get this!
The experiment showed that there was no measurable difference in the speed of light in different directions. I know. I must say, this is quite a novel approach for a flat earther. I've never seen one so eager to demonstrate all the ways in which they don't understand. No, that's it. They just don't understand.
Now, every person hearing my voice has heard of Einstein and his theory of relativity.
Who?
Prior to Flat Earth, everybody who's ever spoken to me on the theory of relativity presented it as a fact. Not once in about 36 years of my life
36? Bloody hell, somebody had a tough paper round.
did one person tell me that Einstein created his theory based on the Michelson-Morley and other experiments that proved that the Earth is not moving.
I was joking. Of course I know who Einstein is. Everyone does. He was Doc Brown's dog from the Back to the Future films. While it is true that many people have heard of Einstein and his theory of relativity, it isn't true that everyone who has It isn't true that everyone who has ever heard the statement has presented it as fact without mentioning its experimental origins. In fact, most people who are knowledgeable about the history of science and the theory of relativity understand that Einstein's work was based on a wide range of experimental evidence, including the Michelson-Morley experiment. And furthermore, the idea that the Michelson-Morley experiment somehow proved that the Earth is not moving just isn't true. While the experiment did provide important evidence that challenged the prevailing theory of a stationary ether, it didn't prove that the Earth isn't moving. In fact, subsequent experiments and observations have confirmed that the Earth is indeed moving through space. Both in its rotation and around its own axis, and in an orbit around the Sun.
So I want to share a clip from a channel called Geranism.
Interesting.
Geran did an exceptional job
Demonstrating the Earth is a globe? Yeah, we know.
laying out all of the facts in this video. But for the sake of time, I'm going to include just a few snippets from this video.
In his 1881 and 1887 experiments, Albert Michelson discovered the Earth was not moving around the Sun.
No, he didn't. And Jism gets on my throtteny bit, so let me jump ahead a little bit to Vince. I like him, he's funny. Just search the video title I mentioned at the beginning of this video if you want to be bored to tears by Geranism completely butchering the Michelson-Morley experiment.
Alright, so let's recap a few things from this clip. In 1881 and 1887, Albert Michelson proved by scientific experiment that the Earth was not moving.
Oh, fan-bloody-tastic. He's just gonna repeat what Geran said. What a tool. But, just for clarity, no he didn't. And I refuse to repeat myself. No he didn't. And I refuse to repeat myself. Damn! The Michelson-Morley experiment, conducted by Michelson and Edward Morley in 1887, specifically aimed to detect the motion of Earth through the ether, but it failed to do so. Now, I hate to bring this up, but does your video titled Empirical Evidence for a Flat Earth #1 actually contain any evidence at all? And I mean evidence for a flat Earth. And as much as we appreciate everything flat earthers do to show everyone just how wrong they are, we really don't need the help.
So now let's look at another video clip. This one is from one of my favorites. His name is Dean Odell, and he's going to go over some of the video evidence to show some interesting things about the moon relative to the Earth.
Ooh, sounds interesting. Let's see how little you understand of this next part then, shall we?
Comes the moon. I want you to watch, look at the dimension, look at the size of the moon. Now let me ask you something. When you look up in the night sky and the moon is out, is that what you see? Is it that small? There's a reason. But they clearly saw the moon, okay? Of course, you see how the horizon gets flat, it gets bulged, it gets concave, but there's the moon.
Well, my immediate thought is that the moon is almost 250,000 miles away, but I'm sure you will have a much more interesting explanation. Oh, and it's being filmed with a GoPro wide-angle lens, just so you know.
All right, now, this is July 14th. I went back and did this myself. I checked this myself yesterday. I spent hours working on this, just checking stuff out, double checking. All right, so I went to time and date, or whatever it is, .com, because it'll give you, on this basically flat map, it's going to give you the position of the sun and the moon at any time and date you want to put in. So I put in Monday, July 14th, 2014, 9:34 a.m., which is 1634 UTC, okay? So the exact time of the launch that the rocket went up to 73 miles, the sun is here over, say, what is that, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic area, the Bahamas. They launched in Nevada. The moon was directly over Australia.
Oh, you're still here? Good. Sorry about that. But I had to let it play so you'd know what I was responding to. But anyway, the Go Fast rocket launch was at 7:30 a.m. So myself, I would be asking why this other guy put it at 9:30 a.m. when he entered the information into timeanddate.com's moon location. But I'm sure that was merely an oversight on his part. I mean, what's 2 hours between friends, right?
All right, now I want you to notice something. This side here is in the sunlight, and this side is not, seeing any sunlight whatsoever. And the sun is said to be 93 million miles away.
The distance from the sun to Earth is not just an estimation of 93 million miles. It is indeed 93 million miles away. However, I have observed some inconsistencies regarding the positions of the sun and the moon in what you showed on screen. And although I don't want to accuse you of manipulating the numbers for your own personal gain, it does seem like the numbers may have been manipulated for your own personal gain. Now, in the video clip you just showed, the map presented is off by 2 hours, which has a significant impact on the position of the moon, causing it to be 30 degrees further east and closer to the launch site.
So on Monday, July 14th, 2014 at 9:34 a.m., the rocket camera saw the moon from 8,830 miles away. That would be over 5,000 miles of curvature from that distance. That would be the other side of the sphere. And this camera saw the moon on the other side of the Earth. It's impossible.
Wow, I'm impressed with your incredible logic. I mean, who needs actual scientific evidence and calculations when you can just come up with outrageous claims based on absolutely nothing? Clearly, the rocket camera must have had superpowers to see through the entire planet and capture an image of the moon from the other side. Have you considered a career as a conspiracy theorist? I think you'd be perfect for it.
The only rational explanation is that the Earth is flat. Also, you can see that there's a major difference in the size of the moon from what we would see looking up in the sky, and that means the moon is much smaller and much closer than the 240,000 miles that they've been telling us.
And your proof is?
To me, that's checkmate.
Oh wait, you think that the content of your video proves something? My mistake. I thought it was all just one big joke. You know, much like flat Earth itself. And like I said, you're comparing apples to oranges anyway. When you say, is that what the moon looks like when we view it from Earth? I'm assuming you mean using nothing but your eyes, and you're confused as to why it looks different through a GoPro lens. Genius. And if the only conclusion you can make is that the Earth must be flat, then it shows us all what level of intelligence we're dealing with. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. Why couldn't I get that sentence out? Please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to support what I do here, have a look at the links in the video description below. Love you, bye.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe. By order of the Creaky Blinder.